I think a lot of people have been very critical of one Philip Spencer of Xbox fame. Obviously, myself included, I've been very critical of Phil Spencer over the years. It's one of those things where it's sort of a situation where you really want the best of the best when it comes to like your platform and that kind of thing. And Xbox, to be honest with you, really delivered in certain areas during the Xbox 360, and even kicking off the Xbox One. I thought that they got a lot of unnecessary hate. People really disliked the idea of what they were trying to offer in terms of, DRM. They thought, hey, well, you're not going to be able to buy a used game, or you're not going to be able to do this or that. Honestly, they were decades ahead of the game with what they were trying to offer. I mean, think about it. We do game sharing right now, most of us, and we would have been able to game share with up to like 10 people. That's an insane amount. But anyway, Phil Spencer has always made a lot of promises for Xbox fans, and to be quite honest about it, it's kind of interesting. Like, some of them come true, some of them don't necessarily come true, but at the end of the day, Phil Spencer, has done his best to make sure that people actually have, a lot of kind of content to play. Like, if you're an Xbox fan, how could you really complain? I've said this a while ago. To be honest with you, Phil Spencer has realistically saved Xbox multiple ways and things like that. But this is interesting to me anyway, because they've confirmed it. And I said Xbox will never again release less first-party games than Sony. And it doesn't look like that'll be the case. Xbox plans to release 4 first-party games every year. Previously, it was an aspiration. Now it's a reality. The Xbox brand CEO, Phil Spencer, recently appeared and doubled down on the initial statement that the company plans to release 4 first-party titles every single year. It was previously nothing more than an aspiration that Xbox planned to achieve, but now it has turned into a definite plan that will absolutely be carried by its game studios in the future. Phil says that devs have already shipped out more than the promised 4 first-party games this year, citing Hi-Fi Rush, Minecraft Legends, Redfall, of course, Starfield, and Forza Motorsport. Xbox's Josh Grebels previously confirmed that the devs will not be pressured into achieving the goals by balancing out with careful consideration for project needs. The recent Gamescom event that passed a little bit ago has proved to be quite fruitful for Microsoft, as it divulged plenty of details related to Starfield, which now is a reality if you're playing early access. Phil Spencer has also actively participated in the event and confirmed quite a bountiful nature of games awaiting the Xbox portfolio. The CEO appeared in an interview and doubled down on saying that the company plans to release at least 4 first-party titles every single year. He mentions that they've already shipped out more than the promised 4 first-party games this year, saying Hi-Fi Rush, Minecraft Legends, Redfall as well. He also says that the failure of Arcane Austin's Redfall may cause players not to acknowledge the project at all, but plenty of other titles fill that 4 slot of first-party entries. He says maybe people don't want to give us credit for Redfall. I get it, but I understand. Starfield, Forza, we just dropped Age of Empires 4 console edition. Awesome. I'm going to play that. And then going into next year, absolutely, we talked about it as an aspiration, and now we talk about it as our plan. Previously, however, the prospect for Phil Spencer and Xbox was just an aspiration. And as the conglomerate has stated similar statements in the past, however, Phil has turned that ambition to launch 4 first-party titles to a definite plan, and it'll absolutely be carried out. So, yeah, that's pretty cool to see that happening. Listen, Microsoft has really done a lot of good things. They've really sort of, I want to say, I guess, change the narrative. It's hard to really kind of get into exactly what they've actually managed to change, but they have, in my opinion, changed like so many of the things that people kind of just took for granted for Xbox or whatever, and I love seeing that they're able to kind of do this. And then you look at what they've been able to offer, and listen, I get it too, because I'm hesitant to bring up Redfall when I'm talking about the games that I played for Xbox this year, but they do say that they're not going to abandon that game and that at some point it'll be a good game. I'm a little bit iffy on whether that game will ever be good. Nothing against it personally, I just think that it's sort of one of those games that's kind of up in the air. Like, I don't think they could have delayed that game for a full year and it probably still wouldn't have got above a 7. Just to be honest with you, like, I played it with friends and beat it in under 20 hours. There's no reason to go back. It's not a game that some people thought maybe it was a multiplayer game because it was co-op. It's not. It's just like a game that you play with friends. I mean, you can play it solo, but I can't imagine that game would be very fun solo at all, to be honest with you. But yeah, like I thought it was a pretty lackluster game, and lacking in a lot of areas. Now, if they maybe would have taken a few years with it, maybe, I guess, I don't know. It's hard saying that there would have ever been a point where it would have been good, but it is interesting that Bethesda actually said, Pete Hines was asked about the reception for Redfall and if it was actually placed more pressure on Starfield, and he said that even if Starfield was to have a tricky launch, Bethesda just wouldn't leave it to fail. He said, we're always in the process of learning, so that's not new for us. We don't like failing to meet our players' expectations. At the same time, we're aware that the same company that had launches that didn't go the way that they wanted, and we don't just quit or abandon stuff because it didn't start right. He went on to state that Bethesda would continue to work on Redfall to ensure it becomes a good game. Elder Scrolls Online PC launch was not flawless, but we stuck with it as well. So, they recognize what's going on or whatever with their games, and not all of them are going to launch perfectly. He says now it's like the insanely popular multi-platform game with the Elder Scrolls Online. He says it's the same with Fallout 76. He said Redfall is no different. Okay, we didn't get the start we wanted, but it's still a fun game, and we're going to keep working on it. We're going to do the 60 frames update. We're going to get it to be a good game because we know as a first-party studio, Game Pass lives forever. There will be people 10 years from now who are going to join Game Pass, and Redfall will be there. Following several delays, the first major Xbox exclusive from Bethesda released in May with various technical issues and reviewed poorly, garnering a 56 Metacritic score on Xbox. So Xbox game boss Matt Booty said in June that there were no plans to close Redfall developer Arcane, saying he felt Microsoft should have done a better job to support the studio. He says, I felt accountable that we could have done a better job, according to Booty, which is kind of echoing Phil Spencer, who said pretty much the same thing, that they didn't do a good job. They were there, oddly enough, for Bethesda with Starfield, because I think Starfield was always looked at as that big next thing. I don't think Redfall was ever that, unfortunately. I think it was a game that, I mean, you can have some fun there, but I would probably definitely say it's not a good game in any way, shape, or form. But who knows what can happen in the future. Will I go back? They would have to have some story content there and a lot of fixes and things like that, and then I think it could be, listen, they've done things in the past. I mean, I'm not saying that it's right to do so, but Sea of Thieves launched with no content and now is like this hugely successful, great game. State of Decay 2 also launched in a poor state and now is looked at as a really great game. They just have to focus on getting these things ready to go right from the start, in my opinion. So anyway, I'll link this in the description. You can check it out. Let me know. Rack 'em up. I'm Crap Gamer. This is Crap Gamer Reviews. Peace.